future trends, deep insights, industry leaders. This is the iGaming Next podcast with your host, Michael Pedersen.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the iGaming Next Marketing Podcast. Today, I have a very special guest, which is Melanie Hainzer, who is the CMO of Rootz. Rootz have been tremendously successful in a very short time, launching wildz'ly Casino, and is now soon to launch their fourth casino brand. And one of the keys to their success is definitely Melanie and her marketing team, and sort of the whole approach they have. And more importantly, what we speak about in this podcast is influencer marketing. So we talk about streaming, we talk about Instagram, we talk about micro-influencers, and a whole lot more, and how you can get value out of this, how much effort goes into it, how you measure success. And yeah, overall, it's just a fantastic episode. Not from my side, but Melanie is just so interesting and knowledgeable to talk to. So I hope you enjoy this. Have a great day. Hey, Melanie Hainzer. Did I pronounce that correctly?
Almost Hainzer, yes.
Hainzer. I still need to brush up on my Austrian, right? Austrian surname. Yes?
Yes, that's correct.
Very good. How are you doing today, Melanie?
Very, very good. Thank you so much, Michael, for having me today.
No, absolutely. It's such a pleasure to have you here. And also, you told me something before this call that this is actually your first ever podcast. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. So I'm a little bit nervous. So don't be too harsh on me.
No. I'm always gentle, but that's quite a surprise, actually, Melanie. Because when you look around your social feeds and you look at LinkedIn and Facebook and what have you, then your name pops up quite often. Actually, I would say, sort of, speaker at conferences and I think even writing sort of small posts or articles around the industry and stuff. I definitely see you pop up quite often. So I'm surprised you haven't done a podcast. I'm happily surprised. I'm honored that this is your first podcast. But you are quite active on the conference trail, no? You go and speak and travel around quite a bit.
Yes, I try to challenge myself, and I wouldn't say I'm a natural good speaker, but I try to challenge myself, and it's always nice to try out new things, and that's why I'm very happy to be here today, and hopefully we're gonna have a good session and talk about interesting stuff today.
I will do my best. Oh, you put me in the spot here, Melanie. I'll try my best. Okay, look, let's start with an introduction and sort of a background of your career journey so far. So please jump in if I make a mess of this, but I'll try my best. So today you're the CMO of Rootz. You're originally from Austria and you've been in iGaming since 2011, so a bit more than 10 years. You started out at Mr. Green as CRM manager, spent a couple of years there. Then you moved on to Leo Vegas, first as affiliate manager, I believe, and then country manager for the DACH region. Then 6 months at BetHard for DACH country manager, 2 years at Mansa Gaming as head of marketing, and now you have spent more than 2.5 years at Rootz, first as head of marketing, and then later you were promoted to CMO for the company. Is that roughly correct, or did I make a huge mess out?
No, that's correct. And as you can see, I'm always, as you pointed out, I'm mainly always a couple of years at the company. That's because I usually join at the very beginning, and I do love the startup vibe. And in the past, it was whenever the company grows and start becoming too corporate, I was moving on. So I was one of the first employees of Mr. Green.
Yeah.
The same happened with Leo Vegas, also Mansa Gaming. We were quite quite a small team. And when I joined Rootz, also we were just a handful of people starting up in a townhouse in Slima.
Yeah, fun times when you're the startup stage, for
Yes.
sure. So how long have you been in Malta, Melanie?
Since a good 10 and a half years now. So when I started my gaming company, my gaming career,
Yeah.
I was moving to Malta.
Wow. So you're definitely one of the people I know that have been here the longest, I think.
Yeah,
You survived
pretty
10
much.
years. Well, that's good. I've been here for 14 years, so I've been around as well. But very few people you speak to have been here more than 5, I would say, actually. So 10 years is impressive. Well done. Good. So look, we have a lot of stuff, super interesting, exciting stuff to talk about. We had a great prep call, and but before we get into that, it would be great if you could give us a short introduction to Rootz, effectively. How did it get started? What brands do you operate? Anything you want to add, markets, etc., just to give the viewers at home a bit better insight into Rootz.
Yes. So Rootz was formed in 2018 by the same people that were also behind Risk, which a lot of people are familiar with. The founders got a little bit frustrated with the concept of running a white label casino and being on a white label platform. And so they came up instead. They are very practical people. They said, "Oh, let's not moan about things that our platform doesn't have. So let's build our own one and make it to the needs that we have." That is when they founded Rootz. They were working roughly 1.5 years on the platform itself. And then in 2019, they put a small team together with marketing and payments, and we started in June 2019. We launched wildz'ly, our first brand. Roughly a year later, already in the middle of the pandemic, we launched our second brand, Casino, which was kind of like proof of concept from wildz'ly, if it was just a one-hit wonder or if you're really that good as we think we are.
Yeah.
And then beginning of the year, we launched our first brand with a brand ambassador with David Hasselhoff, wildz'ly. So it's I think quite impressive from 2019 to 2021, operating 3 casinos, and now we are over 100 people in the company as well.
Yeah, operating 3 casinos and operating them in a great way, right? You're very successful.
Yes.
So that's fantastic. And you mentioned sort of that the guys spent about a year and a half building the platform. So you have built your own back end, your own front end. All the
Yes.
technology is
Yes.
your own.
Yes, we do everything in-house. We have a very diverse team, so of course we have a lot of tech knowledge. We believe in automation, and I don't want to throw in too many fancy words like artificial intelligence and all that, but that's better that people that actually work in that field talk about that.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
But we do believe that we try to automate all the boring stuff and have the people in the company working on the fun things. Also for example, if you look at our last brand, wildz'ly, we have, if you look at the TV spot or if you look at the song Keep on Spinning, so we wrote the song for David Hasselhoff. One of our co-founders was writing the song with David Hasselhoff together. Which I think is quite unique, coming up with a tune, putting a song together, and that's all in-house.
That's amazing. What a fun task. Did you have Pamela Anderson as backing vocals or something like that, or no?
No, but I was thinking about it as one of our fastest growing markets. Is Canada, and Pamela Anderson being Canadian. I was already thinking maybe there will be a cooperation in the future. You never know.
There you go. Very good. Okay, and having your own sort of tech platform in place, do you how important do you think that is today, and do you think that has been a vital part of your success, not being a white label and being sort of dependent on a provider, so to speak?
For us, I can only speak. It is for sure crucial that we are that we have been successful the way we are, because we can act very fast to all the changes that are coming up, no matter if it's regulatory changes or if we feel the need. We to communicate better or to personalize certain aspects. As we have everything in-house, we don't need to wait to be in some long development lists, and we are like on the 15th spot to come up to work on
a good day, 15th spot. Yeah, no, that's good. No, absolutely. I can only imagine that's a crucial thing. And like you're saying, more than anything, it frees up a lot more time and for creativity and fun stuff, right? So that's good. Great. Thank you for that introduction. What we want to talk about today really is influencer marketing, and that's quite a today in 2021 here. It's quite a vast headline to have. It can mean so many different things, right? So maybe Melanie, do you want to start with what is your sort of definition of influencer marketing?
Yes, so I think my definition is quite easy. Influencer marketing is working with people that have a good social media following.
Okay.
So very, very, very short, very simple.
Yes, well, that's good, very good. And we spoke in the prep call as well that it's sort of, there's obviously the streaming world, which we're going to dive deep into as well. But we're also speaking about celebs and sort of, let's say, non-casino players type of influencers. And you're obviously already working with Mr. Hasselhoff and others on that front. So quite a lot of stuff to do. But let's start in the streaming space, if you don't mind. So walk us through how did all this get started for Rootz? Like, what made you? So when did you start, and what made you sort of move into seriously working within the streaming space for marketing purposes?
So I have to say, before I came to Rootz, I mean, I knew about streaming, especially coming from a company. So I've worked with Leo Vegas and, their connection to casino grounds. So I knew it was out there, but I did not know how powerful it can be. So when we opened our first brand in June 2019, of course, we signed up with casino grounds and all the back then we thought those are the biggest streaming providers for casino content. But then we were very, very lucky that two of the biggest, I would say, YouTubers and Twitch streamers in Germany heard about our casino, and they started streaming our casino and having fun. And overnight we got thousands of new customers. First we did not know what happened, where do all those people coming from? And very, very fast we find out that we just attracted two of the biggest social media stars in Germany that just found out about us and having fun playing on our site. And over the time,
who was that, Melanie? Who were those two? If you can share that.
It was Knossi was one of the guys, and also Montana Black, which is very controversial. He started also playing on our site.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Knossi is a crazy player, but wow, how successful he has been, right? I mean, it's you follow his journey in such a short time from a stream. I think actually he, if I remember correctly, he used to work as country manager or something like that for PokerStars, I think, back in the days, and then decided to start his own channel. And before you know it, he's an absolute rock star, has his own TV shows, and it's been a crazy ride for him, for sure. Okay, so that was the beginning.
That was the beginning, and that is how we actually realized how powerful streaming is and what you can do in the marketing space and also in online gaming with the right partners.
Yeah, and that first first period of time, was that you reaching out to them, or did it just sort of happen organically? They just decided to start streaming, and
I mean, with those, it happened organically. So they found us, because I have actually, it was a little bit of luck, and of course we have a very good platform, and they before they also started, they were very well known that they also like casino games. As you said, Knossi, he worked in the iGaming space before.
Yeah.
So it was very, very good to get them finding us, enjoying to play with us. But of course, we got in touch with them later on and talked to them and got feedback. And I think the major thing was that they opened up for us in Germany, the mainstream. So we got, I remember we had hundreds of streamers signing up on our site, and it was a lot of work to just go through each and every one and see if they're suitable for our platform. Because of course, with having such a big reach, you have a lot of with responsible gaming and everything, you need to keep everything in mind. You have a lot of responsibility as well.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Okay. So that was the beginnings, some 2.5 years back, roughly. Is that correct?
Yeah, it was in summer 2019. So it was really, it happened. We opened up, and I think it was a month after we opened up our casino. It was crazy times.
Crazy times.
Very, very sleepless. A lot of sleepless nights.
Yeah, I can imagine. And you were talking to me as well, like in the prep call, like how much time and effort you actually put into just sitting and watching a potential streamer's channel before deciding to work with them. Could you tell us a bit more about all the sort of the homework that goes into that?
Yeah, it is. If you attract such a big amount of streamers, you need to, as I mentioned just in a sentence before, you have a lot of responsibility that is lying on your shoulders. So you need to make sure, if you work with a streamer, not just, of course, it is nice if someone signs up and they have like 100,000 followers, etc., and 1,000 viewers on average, but you need to make sure that they also fit to your brand, because you can do more harm than good if you sign up with the wrong streaming partner.
Yeah.
You don't want to promote through a person that is not sharing the same values that you're trying to sell with your platform. You want to have genuine people, and not people that just want to make a quick money with promising high wins, or it's very gaming is still very, very dangerous to promote. So it's very, I usually stalk, and not just streamers but also so we also work with influencers in not just on Twitch, also YouTube, Instagram, etc. So I tend to stalk them a little bit, see what they're up to.
Melanie is stalking. Is that your username?
No, I wouldn't say, but of course it you should know with whom they are engaging, what they're doing, know their audience. Of course, use certain tools to see if the streams are genuine. Nowadays, you have streamers probably, because everyone knows you need to have a certain amount of following or average viewers that you are interesting for an operator to work together. So you need to look up previous streams or the statistics, because sometimes people just work with, they buy viewer bots, etc., just to inflate their streams.
Yeah, there's a lot of that, right? It's funny, not only with streaming, but with digital advertising in general. I think I read an article the other day that they now estimate that about 30% of all the traffic that hits digital advertising are driven by bots. That is non-human traffic. 30% of all our advertising spend. So it's quite depressing to think about, actually. Yeah. So quite a lot of due diligence to do before starting to work with them. So you must be a Twitch super user now. You must know that platform very well.
I know my way around,
Yeah.
but I do believe there is for sure people that know it better, because I'm not an active user of Twitch, so I don't stream myself.
Yeah.
I have been part of streams with some of our influencers.
Yeah.
I did some guest appearances, but other than
Ah,
that,
so maybe it's the first podcast, but you've been streaming before and live sort of with video and everything. That's good. Okay. Good. But let's see. So obviously there's the obvious, let's say, benefit of working with streamers in terms of, NDCs and attracting sort of players or traffic to your casino. But do you see any other sort of reasons why streamers are important for brands to work with, or is it a pure traffic generator, or is there a sort of a brand play here as well?
not at all. So I see that a streamer is acting more like a brand ambassador.
Yeah.
And I mean, the way that an operator communicates with the player is basically mainly one-way communication, whilst with streaming, it's kind of like a two-way communication. The players can communicate with the streamer itself, and it gives us a lot of opportunity. I mean, let's say in countries like let's say take Norway, there is always problems with payment providers. If you have a streamer, he can explain, while sometimes payouts can take a little bit longer, etc.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it is very important. That's also why it is so important to have streamers, to treat them as partners and not just as a revenue stream.
Yeah.
Because they basically are brand ambassadors for you.
Yeah. And I can imagine,
yeah, they can
So-
smoothen out problems. They can promote your CRM. It's very, very, very important in these days.
Yeah. And I guess also the other way around, right? I mean, it's such a direct channel for sort of players to give feedback to the streamer that he can then pass on to you, and even give you video clips. See, this is what they're saying about your new feature or your new brand or whatever. So you have that sort of direct finger on the pulse kind of thing towards the players as well.
Definitely.
Very good. And speaking of players, Melanie, in your experience, and you have been doing so much with streamers, what do you think players look for in a stream, in a streamer? Like, why do they choose streamer A and not streamer B? Let's say, obviously apart from language, but what else do you think makes a streamer popular or someone you want to watch?
I strongly believe it's the personality of the streamer. So it's not just it's not the fact if they are playing with high stakes or low stakes. This is of course also something that might some players, some viewers might be attracted to. But I do believe it's mainly the personality and how entertaining a streamer can be. Because if we go back, for example, with Knossi, he used to play social casino before, where there is no big wins. It's not all about how much money one can win in a casino. Of course, that's just the cherry on top. But I do believe a lot it is about the personality, and it is more like watching why one TV show is more popular than the other. It's all about the people that makes that show. And the same, I do believe, is with streams, how much they are engaging with their community.
Did you say Knossi used to stream with social casino before? So play for fun, effectively, or no real money involved?
Just play for coins.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. Because this is, this is a conversation that often comes up among sort of my peers, at least. So we speak about sort of, there's the entertainment aspect, and there is the, chance of a big win aspect. Let's call it that. And we were saying, what would happen if you like put it at the extreme, and you were playing at a casino for fun money, and there was absolutely no real money involved? Could that streamer still succeed? Or how important is that, sort of that gambling, that risk, that the emotional up and down when they win or lose kind of thing? Like, how important that is. But What are your thoughts on this? Do you think a casino streamer play for fun could be successful in 2021?
It could, as long as that streamer is transparent about it, and he needs to have, I think, just play for fun. Maybe he needs to have a little bit of a more entertainment factor, like a little bit extra on it. You depending on how much he can engage with his community.
Yeah.
But I do believe it's possible. Definitely. Because if you look at other streams, if you look at normal gaming streams that play FIFA or Fortnite, there is no, people watch it and they they don't gain anything from it. Like there is no win for the person playing those games, except that they will become first, etc. But it's not.
Or it's a bit more of a long-term win, right? Maybe because they will grow their audience significantly, and the more they grow the audience, the more they can do partnership agreements and your Red Bull sponsorships and all these kind of things. And so maybe it's not a win in a game round; it's a win in the long run. Maybe, I don't know, but it's fun to think about if it's high stakes or if it's entertainment. That's good to hear.
Yeah, there is so many different ways of making a stream interesting. It doesn't always have to be high stakes. I remember, was it a year ago? It was very popular to do those bonus hunts. You can engage the community by partnering up with an operator and maybe giving out some merchandise. So there is a lot of things that you can do. That doesn't involve high stakes.
Yeah, and I think Knossi is a great example of this. Actually, I mean, the amount of different weird things he can do in the stream, right? I mean, he has his own whatever drinks brand, merchandise brand. He has the royal crown that he wears and gives out to people. He have guests in the studio that he also kind of makes famous, and he has his gang. There's so much more
if you look
at the gambling aspect.
Yeah, and if you look at the once he did casino streams, if you look at the stakes that he had, it's also he was not famous for crazy bets. In the beginning, he was playing like with €1, €2. Later on, if he had a big hit, he went up to like €5. But he was when he was playing with €5, he was already saying like, "Oh, my heart is racing." It's so much money, and he still had thousands of viewers on average. So it's not about the size of the bet; it's just how entertaining you are. And Knossi, I think, is one of the greatest entertainers in the Twitch atmosphere.
No, I fully agree. And then I mean, don't you also think that if we think another year into the future or so, at some point, regulation and compliance are going to, sort of put pressure on the streamers to lean more into the entertainment as opposed to the high stakes, or sort of, if you have to look into the crystal ball, Melanie, what do you think?
It's already happening with if you look at this summer the changes in Twitch with banning affiliate links. So they are already looking into the problem of how casino streams are now out there. I think the execution was not the best with what they did, but I do think in the next years there will be hopefully better solutions coming up, that casino streams will be again more popular or more easier to monetize as well for legit affiliates.
Okay, good. So if you had to give us like a top 3 or top 5 things you look for in a streamer before starting a collaboration, like what would those be? What is sort of the must-haves and the must-not-haves, I guess, of a streamer?
I think the must-have, of course, must have a likable personality.
Yes.
And they do need to. I need to have the feeling that they are genuine, that they are having genuine fun with what they're doing, and they don't see this just as a revenue stream coming in. I think that is the most important attribute, that you are working with a genuine player that
Yeah.
decided to stream. And then, of course, you look at, you can be the most likable person, but if you don't have any following, so of course, following and average viewers is also something that we are looking into before we are starting to work with streamer.
So streamers starting from zero is not so interesting. They need to have a starting following, and then Melanie
Yes.
might be interested.
No, it is. It is. We have started with streamers from zero, but
Yeah.
I have to admit that was more more on a celebrity level. That
Yes.
due to COVID, they could not work in their whatever they did, if they were singers, etc. And they started streaming, and we took the opportunity and we grew the channel together. But if you are a normal person, unfortunately, I have to admit that it will be very difficult to start with zero and having a sponsor right away
Yeah.
or partnership.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Okay. Very good. So that also makes another question is, so you mentioned that it should not be just for the money, but it should also be something they really enjoy doing, and that should come through on the stream, right? So another aspect that is being talked about often is sort of in-house streamers, or having a brand having their own studio, or effectively an employee that does streaming exclusively for a brand. So that model, do you think that's authentic enough for players at home to engage with and be interested in?
I think it all depends how that streaming is sold. So if you have in-house streamers also streaming on other brands, I'm not sure how authentic that can be. But as you might know, we are also working on our next project, our next casino, which will have a heavy focus on streaming, and we will have in-house streamers as well.
Okay.
But we see it more as purely entertainment, more like as a TV show.
Yeah.
So we will for sure not try to take away work or revenues from affiliate streamers, but we will add on with additional value and entertainment factor. So I do think we hope. I mean, let's talk again in a year's time and see how it worked out. But I do believe that there is room for in-house streamers and for our own streamers. Just it's good for retention, to keep players active on the site. And before, as I said, if we have some special campaigns, etc., it might be easier if in-house people can explain it, and if we have that opportunity as well.
Yeah, very good. So that was kind of like sorry, I wasn't fishing or anything, I promise. So was that kind of like a world first announcement of a new brand I heard there, Melanie?
I might have dropped the idea before now and then, but it's more or less I haven't talked openly about it. Yeah.
Okay, all right, and so we are looking super forward to seeing that. Obviously, when do you expect to launch this? Do you have a rough timeline, or you don't want to comment too much on that?
No, I can say it will be Q1, but the exact date still in disguise.
All right. So look out for new brand from Rootz in Q1. You heard it here. Second, not first, apparently. Damn it. Maybe next time. Okay, very good. So I guess so one of the things I wanted to ask you as well is, there's obviously the sort of the slots category on Twitch or YouTube, streamers that purely stream casino games. Are you guys looking into the other categories as well? So, could Rootz be interested in working with esports streamers or poker streamers, or just chatting streamers, or is it mostly the sort of the hardcore casino guys that you want to work with?
Not at all. So we are open for all kind of streamers, as long as they fit to our company profile. We actually just just signed up for sponsoring one of the biggest esports tournaments that have like more than 20,000 registered users. So we do also work outside the slots category, so to say. If the only thing is when you're working with other categories, as you said, like, I mean, poker might not be as big as a problem, but if you work with influencers that are big in other categories, you really need to make sure that their audience is suitable for what you make them promote, because you don't wanna have streamers that the majority of the audience is underage, or that attracting lots of underage players, which we have seen in the past happening with Curacao licensed operators.
Yeah, exactly. And especially, I still don't think Twitch has age gating, right? Like YouTube has. You can't put that limit, can you, today?
You can put on your stream that it's for 18 plus.
Yes.
But still, you don't want to, because you're still gonna get the notification, or you're still gonna see that your streamer is online, and you know how it is. If something is forbidden, you are getting more and more curious. So it's better to just avoid.
Yeah. No,
saves you a lot of headache.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so the opposite side of that coin as well. Are there any streamers that you do not want to work with, and what are sort of the red flags where Rootz are like, no, this is not for us?
I would not engage with streamers that are known in the community of playing with fake money. Also, streamers that work on markets that are regulate or about to regulate, and if they promote operators that are very, very heavy in this market, but they are not looking for getting licensed. So these are the major red flags. So if you're a streamer and you're about making the quick money, and you're opting into working with an operator that have that promotes, we are VPN friendly, we don't do KYC checks, then I rather stay away, and I don't care if that streamer has 1 million followers or 2 million followers. I know it is not the right fit for our company, as we believe the future is regulated markets, and we want to be compliant as much as possible.
Yeah. So just as so effectively, as an operator, Rootz is thinking very long term, and sort of and looking for partners and streamers that also believe in the long game, and is not too aggressive in the short term, sort of, but has a responsible and sustainable strategy for their own stream. Okay, I think that's great to hear, and I think that's I think that the industry has to move a lot on that particular dial. I'm trying to be diplomatic here, but but I think it really comes down to the operators taking a stand and leading here, right? Because if no one works with streamers that have red flags, then naturally there will be a pressure to sort of jump on board and work on the same way.
I think it is also not just the operators, but I also do think that game providers, they should also be held accountable, because after all, they are providing their content to operators that they know they are not compliant. So I think it is a little bit of not just the operator's responsibility, but it's like the whole industry. So we have the operators should all, as you said, work together and say like, no, we don't want to work with people that are trying to make the quick buck and work with other casinos that are not compliant, and then also making pressure or giving the pressure to game providers and saying like, why are you offering your content to those casinos? And then, of course, it would be nice to have streaming platforms such as Twitch also take a stand and looking into the topic a little bit deeper, and realizing that casino streams are not bad, but maybe looking more into implementing a better age verification for streams, and also maybe just make sure that you only allow casino streams in those jurisdictions where it's allowed, and also for operators that have a license. But this is just wishful thinking.
Yeah, no, but it's interesting, right? Because if you look at Facebook, if you look at Google, before you can do any type of marketing through those platforms, right? You need to send them, your license, the size of your shoe, and how old your cat is at home. Almost, I mean, it's really
Yes.
really tough to get started, and they do not accept anything gray, let alone black. But on the Twitch side of things, that is at least not the case yet. It's very sort of cowboys and Indians still to some extent.
Yes.
And you mentioned that the recent change in rules, that they removed the direct links, had not really had the effect, or you don't see that working very well. Could you explain that?
No. So I think the intentions were very, very good, and something had to happen.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it went completely into the wrong direction. So
Okay.
Twitch banned, as of I think it was August 17th,
Mm-hmm.
they implemented the rule that you cannot share any affiliate links or referral codes for online casinos, slots, roulette, dice.
Mm-hmm.
And the intention were to limit advertising of pages that are not compliant.
Mm-hmm.
However, how all those big, well-known Curacao brands work is also more on a brand ambassador model. So they pay per stream, and then it doesn't matter. They don't need to share any links. So
Yeah.
it was, I think they really had good intentions, but as they don't know the industry, they just saw, oh, they got the pressure because there was some media picking up on topics where there were streamers, attracting underage players, etc., etc. And so they got the pressure from the media, and they needed to change something, but they didn't look into the topic very well.
Yeah. Okay. So the change did definitely not have the intended impact, because, like you're mentioning, a lot of especially the larger streamers would have some sort of fixed deals in place. They wouldn't be dependent on the links anyway. But do you think so? Let's call it. It was kind of neutral. It was no better nor worse after that restriction, or that was my question. Has it actually become worse with that restriction? Are there there is some downsides as well?
Yes, I do think it has become worse because especially networks or streamer networks that specialized in casino streams that work on on revenue based models, or that they have affiliate links. With the ban of it, it is very, very hard. If they are already well known, of course, they switch also to different revenue models. However, the majority is still struggling up to today to adapt to new models, and to adapt of how can we still make the same money while also proving to the operators that we are worth it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
because also we operators, we are used to work in affiliation. You have your CPA deals, hybrid, rev share deals, CPL, whatever, but we are used to that kind of marketing. And now because it was only, I think, a week or 2 weeks notice from Twitch to change all the way how you're working. So it needs also a very experienced operator that has worked before with different revenue models to come up with a solution that both parties are happy with.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned as well that it was bad for the little guy, as in to be
yes, definitely.
to be a beginner streamer with that Twitch change. Life has become even more difficult to grow a following. Can you explain that a bit more as well?
I mean, they now, it's very, very hard to prove. I mean, if you're a new streamer and you go to a casino, say, oh, I can refer you X amount of players, but you are not allowed to use any affiliate links.
Mm-hmm.
How can you make that claim that you are
Yeah.
good without being able to prove it?
Yeah.
If you're an existing affiliate, you can show statistics from the past, and usually they're very similar. So
Mm-hmm.
you kind of know what to play or how to calculate
Mm-hmm.
commissions. Of course,
Yeah.
there is always a way around. As we have seen, there is sharing links. There is Telegram groups. There is Discord where affiliate links can be changed. That is not directly on the Twitch platform.
Mm-hmm.
However, to be honest, for the affiliate itself, for the streamer itself, it's always worse than it was before. I mean, we as operator might gain because if the sharing of a link takes at least one or two more steps, the player might go just directly.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so in short, I guess what we're saying is that for the small streamers or streamers without a history, they're just starting out. It's very difficult to start working with any operators because the business model that they can offer nowadays is fixed fees or some sort of brand model. And what operator in their right mind wants to offer such a deal to someone with a very little following and no sort of proven track record that they can actually deliver traffic?
Yes.
Or at least it will force operators to think much more in the sort of the branding, entertainment kind of style, like you're saying before, right? That it's about personality and what they can, do they fit the brand and thinking long term as such. But still, life has become more difficult.
It is very hard because even if you go the entertainment factor, if someone already has a little bit of a following, someone that hasn't been in casino gaming before, it also takes a lot of research from the operator side if that person fits. And we all know how fast growing our industry is. And there is, I don't know if everyone has the resources of doing the research. It's much easier clicking on decline and saying like, no, I go for a streamer or for a traditional affiliate in SEO, etc., where I know what I'm getting.
Yeah, I don't think there's many operators that go in stealth stalker mode like you, Melanie, and watch 100 hours before signing with these streamers. So I can imagine that. No, but okay, good. So let's see. Yes. What is your view around sort of Twitch versus YouTube as a streaming platform or a way of working with an operator? Is there you see quite a lot of streamers doing Twitch with all the real streaming happening and the sort of the full episodes, and then they would upload the highlights or the clips to their YouTube channel. And sort of, do you have any thoughts around Twitch versus YouTube, or is there a third or fourth platform coming up that could be Twitch 2.0 in the future, maybe?
I do think, depending on what your goal is, there is either Twitch better or YouTube. Twitch is live streaming. So, of course, if I think in the live streaming sphere, there is Twitch is the king. There is no... YouTube cannot follow up with it, although we see that also YouTube is working on their live streaming, but there is still too many. Twitch is just made for it. It has the better bots, it has the better extensions, it is easier to monetize. I mean, maybe not for casino streams these days, but in general.
Yeah.
But then if we look long term, of course, YouTube is better because, as you said, there is a reason why there is always highlight clips, because YouTube is made for content that lasts.
Yeah.
And long term, you probably are able to have a better monetization on YouTube videos than on Twitch. And
Okay.
also, if we look at the rules, I mean, both companies are like American, but they are. I think Twitch has the stricter rules, and it's easier to get banned, while YouTube is a little bit more forgiving, so to
Okay.
say.
So could you see a future where YouTube becomes the platform of choice for casino streamers or viewers of casino streams?
They would need to work a lot
Yeah.
on the platform, because
Yeah.
even now, if you look, like, it's very easy to find the slots category on Twitch, and you have the better community on Twitch, whilst on YouTube it is still hard to find what you're looking for, because
Yeah.
there is a gaming category, but I have not found a slots category, for example. You
Yeah.
do find streamers, but mainly you find the streamers that you already know from Twitch. You look them up in YouTube.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
we do see that, I mean, Twitch is trying to grab customers from YouTube. By there is more and more you can also use uploaded videos or pre-recorded videos and upload it in Twitch, which was not possible a few years ago. And the same with YouTube, they are making their live streaming more and more attractive. So it will be interesting to see where we are standing in 2, 3, 5 years.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things as well, maybe you could say that the audience sitting at home watching Twitch versus the audience sitting to watching YouTube is probably completely different. Maybe the YouTube is more sort of mass market Mr. and Mrs. Jones, where Twitch is much more, let's say, you have much more of an intent, or you're much more into the community aspect. Do you think? So let me rephrase. So do you think on Twitch, do you think you can find both the sort of the heavy users / VIP players, as well as the casual audience? Like, I mean, the industry in general is speaking a lot about going towards entertainment instead of gambling, more casual players, and it's becoming increasingly important for especially public companies to show that their revenue stream is coming, the vast majority is coming from casual players. Do you think those players watch streams on Twitch, or by its very nature, if you're watching casino streams on Twitch, then you are, let's say, a mid to heavy player? What do you think?
Very interesting question. I do believe you can find both on Twitch. You can find the casual player as well as the VIP, but I tend to say that you will find you most likely won't find the average, let's say, like the 40-year plus player who, due to the pandemic, couldn't go into his land-based casino and wants to try online gambling.
Yeah.
So it's very, very hard to say, but I do believe in general on Twitch you find the more you have the community, but also you will more find maybe like you have the mass, because also to find your niche, I think it's harder to find it on Twitch than on YouTube. Because on Twitch, you always have the recommended channels that you have on your side, and most likely Twitch pushes channels depending on the average viewers or how big the following is. While on YouTube, you can, if you search for niche products, or if you look for something, I think you get more. It's easier to get a small channel that don't have lots of following to get pushed up by YouTube, because the algorithm is a completely different one, and they are not looking into pushing the one with the most views and big channels. They also suggest smaller ones that maybe are more suitable for what you're looking for. So I think it's two completely different products.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very, very, very hard to answer.
Yes,
There is
yes.
no right and there is no wrong.
Very, very, very true. And do you see, do you know of, or do you foresee any new platforms emerging where, let's say, gambling is more accepted, allowed, and sort of a bigger part of that streaming platform sort of concept? Because that's one of the things. Like, I mean, for Twitch, even though the category is growing, it's still whatever, 17th place in Twitch rankings or something like that. I think last time I checked, at least. So we're very small, and in the eyes of the C level at Twitch, right? So maybe that's why we don't get the sort of the necessary attention. Could you see a completely different platform coming up? Maybe you know of something already, or that's not realistic. What do you think?
I mean, I do know that there is several operators as well as affiliate networks that are working on their own platforms. However, I do not see that a serious competition to Twitch, because Twitch just has the masses, and you get the spillover from other categories, which you don't have if you open up something specific for the slots category or casino category. So it will be very, very difficult to come up with a platform that can be a serious competition to Twitch. That's why I think YouTube might be the closest that can be a competition, but even they have to work a lot on making things better to make them attractive to Twitch users.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, we'll see what the future holds, I guess. It's such an interesting space, Melanie. I could keep talking for days about this, but let's move on a little bit. So, do you work with any sort of, let's say, other types of influencers or other type of influencer marketing? Let's put streamers aside for a second.
Yes, we do quite a bit. Of course, we have like Facebook, which is a little bit limited as well, but we do use Instagram a lot. So I'm a big fan of Instagram marketing, and because you just have like a really big audience, you can also with the right influencers, you can almost, I wouldn't say you reach the same amount of slot interested people as in Twitch, but it's a very good alternative, or to have your fingers in more than one social media platform.
Yeah, absolutely. And if I can ask, like, how do you yourself source and find these influencers that you're interested in working with, or is it via influencer agencies that you collaborate with, or a combination of both?
I've done both. In certain markets, I'm very, very lucky that I have had in the past influencers reaching out to myself because they have seen me in streams or in posts from,
or in podcasts with iGaming Next, for example. Yeah.
Yeah, with other celebrities. So I did have those, but they're reaching out. But those are not the majority. I do my own research. Of course, I keep myself like, I mean, you always need to be a little bit on top of everything. So I don't shy away watching trash TV shows, etc., to maybe find the next the next influencer, or you never know. But in other countries where it's hard to find influencers. For example, if I'm in Canada, of course, we have a Canadian country manager that does awesome work in this space. But of course, you sometimes need the help also from agencies and see what they suggest, what would suit best. But I am a big fan of working directly with the influencer, because I do think you get just the better results. I also make always sure to meet face to face, and also get the feeling for the person.
You mentioned that in our prep call, that you always meet face to face with the people that you work with.
Yes, because you can see the people, that the trust is on a different level, and if you have a good personal relationship, you can feel it in the cooperation.
Yeah, it makes an impact on performance long term, and sort of having a great relationship.
Yes,
Yeah.
especially if you work with celebrities, they get so many companies that they are, they having collaborations with.
Yeah.
But if you sit down with them, if you spend a little bit of time with them, it is to me it is shocking that that they don't know companies on a personal level that they are
Yeah.
working with.
Yeah. It's just a paycheck. They
Yeah.
barely know where it comes from. Yeah, no, I fully agree with you. And if you're chasing the long term, and if you believe in sort of sustainable relationships over time, then meeting up face to face and taking an interest and working as true partners must be the default way of working, I think. How do you see the sort of describe the difference? Why are you also working with Instagram, and what difference do you see versus the streaming community or Twitch, for example? Like what needs do the different channels fulfill for Rootz?
I mean, I do think if you work with Twitch, you're mainly targeting an audience that is already familiar with slots, because they clicked on the slots
Yeah.
category and they're watching it, so they might be a little bit more educated.
Mhm.
While on Instagram, you reach a completely different audience.
Mm-hmm. And probably also earlier, they're sitting higher in the funnel, right? I mean, they're like you're
Yeah.
saying, it's more sort of like an awareness channel to a certain extent,
Yes,
that generates
yes.
demand, and then if the intent and the is there, then they might end up on Twitch as their next step, wanting
Yes.
to know more.
No, and
Okay.
also if you look a little bit, if you do the 360 approach, so for example, you're having TV spots, you're doing out of home, you're having the streaming aspect. Why don't top it up with Instagram?
Yeah.
It's because you reach then the people on all different levels.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Okay. Any other thoughts around influencers, or is it mainly Instagram? Are there other channels you're working with? You mentioned celebrities. We also spoke about sort of micro influencers, or sort of up and coming segment of influencers. Anything else you can add or enlighten us with on influencer marketing, Melanie?
I do think the only thing is it always sounds nice and fancy if you meet with influencers, celebrities, etc. But just maybe for people who would like to work in that field, it's you need to be extremely patient. It is very hard work. It looks very funny, but if you work with VIPs, with influential people, they also expect a certain level of service. So it might be, you're getting calls at 3 a.m. or whatever. It's not as fun as it might sound like. It is really hard work.
Yeah.
And social media, I think it's getting a little bit underestimated how much research and work is behind.
Mm-hmm. It's not the quick fix. It's
No, it is. It sounds, because social media is so fast living, that people tend to think, oh, it's just like a nice post, and it's not. It's much thought behind it.
Yeah, absolutely. Very good. So I'm very curious to know as well, like, how do you measure success with influencer marketing? When do you know if something is a great investment and something is not so great an investment?
Of course, there is the normal KPIs, such as how many signups or new depositing players did I get in, but then also how much brand awareness could I get. So what I was surprised in the past was when, as I said, I was meeting some influencers face to face, and then I get messages on my Instagram or on my email, and so like, hey, I saw you're working with this person, or I spoke with that person. Can we also maybe work together? And if you get referrals from your current partners, then for me that is always one of the best compliments that you can get.
Yes, absolutely. You mentioned brand awareness as well, and especially with Twitch removing links, it does become more of a brand play. It's less possible to track every single action. And I think that's probably, if I look across the iGaming industry overall, that's in general something that we're not very comfortable with, right? We grew up in a digital marketing space. Everything is performance marketing. Everything is tracked, and it's sort of one fancy technique after the other. And now we're sort of, have to open our eyes. I think probably the larger brands would have done this for a number of years, but to sort of look at the brand building aspect of marketing, and which is much harder to track. It's possible, but it's much harder to track, and it's much less sort of accurate, if you will. I think it's also helped with the iOS updates, the loss of third-party cookies, the privacy machine rolling out over the world. So if you have to look into the crystal ball, Melanie, and make a prediction for the next year or two for the iGaming industry, between sort of brand building versus performance marketing, what do you think is going to happen?
I think we need to be more creative in the way of how we measure things. We need to come up. I mean, the gaming industry has had it very, very easy for the past decades, and we were just. I think we were just lazy to come up with a new innovation, how to track and how to measure corporations and how we do marketing. And now we are getting more and more challenged, and I think it will be quite fun times, because only people who think outside the box will survive. Except you have very, very big money behind, and you don't need to look after budgets.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You mentioned brand awareness being a success factor or a KPI you look for. Do you have like a sort of a brand tracker set up that you can measure on a monthly or quarterly basis, or how do you measure that? How do you measure brand awareness?
It is, of course, there's like the Google alerts where you can put in whenever your keyword is mentioned. So we do have measures in place how to see where our brand is. And of course, there is always, as you said, you have seen my name popping up a few times when you did your research. So we are trying internal as well to get our brand name out as much as possible. And you hear it, you see it by feedback from other people as well.
Okay, very good. Super. Okay. So one thing I wanted to get from you as well. So when I look across a lot of the operators in the space, I think Rootz and definitely driven by you, Melanie, as well, is very sort of innovative in your marketing approach, and a very sort of forerunners in, like you said, you started almost 3 years ago working seriously with streamers. You're very on top of Instagram. You're doing David Hasselhoff. You're doing a lot of different things. But one of the things we spoke about is like, how do you get it requires support from the CEO of the organization that you work for, because all of these things comes with a level of risk attached, right? It may work and be the best thing we've ever done, and it may completely flop and fail, and it was not worth the investment, so to speak. So talk to us a little bit about how do you get that support from senior management, because clearly you must have that within Rootz in order to do the stuff that you guys do.
Yes, I think our management team, and especially also our CEO, is always having our back. So whatever we do, we always get the confirmation that there is no shame when you fail in something, because it just makes you realize that maybe if one thing is not working, at least it's not working. You will not have to wonder about in the next few months, oh, should I, have I? So it is nice to know you are allowed to fail as long as you take the learnings with it. Yeah. And I think this is one of the most important things, that there is no basically failure is almost appreciated.
Wow, I need to work for it.
No, it is very, very, very nice to know that even if something goes horrible wrong, we always see the positive taking from it.
Yeah.
Also, you can have the best marketing idea, the best campaign setup, but if the rest is not behind your idea, it will not work. I mean, I can have like the best campaign, but if I don't have like the right payment options, or if I don't have good customer support stuff, if I don't have a good EML team behind, it will not work. So it's not all about like what are we coming up with marketing ideas. The whole operation, the whole company needs to support whatever we are doing, and this is what Rootz is very, very special. We always have each other's back, and we try to support each other as much as possible.
Okay, but I guess what I was, I mean, there must be quite a lot of work. So one thing is sort of landing in a company where you're just sort of fortunate to have a great CEO, great shareholders who are sort of on the same wavelength as you, and they sort of foster this culture of take risk, go out there. It might work, it might not. As long as we learn from it, that's okay. But there are definitely also companies where that might not be the case, right? They might not be so lucky, and I guess also from your perspective as a CMO, there must also be a lot of skill involved in terms of setting expectations, communication to senior management in terms of we're doing this, and it may work, it may not, and this is what you should expect, and stuff like that. So let's try and zoom in on the role as CMO, and like what do you need to think about, what do you need to be good at in order to manage and sort of foster that culture that you have built at Rootz. Does that make sense?
It does. I mean, I don't see myself maybe as the best here. I mean, it is my first position as C-level. So I actually don't know how a CMO looks like at other companies. Of course, when I was working at Lea Vegas, I was reporting to the CMO, was also very, very fantastic person. But I do think that this is maybe why we are so successful, because the majority of our C-level team, it is very young. It is our first C-level position, and we having most likely a very different approach because we are very, very hands-on. In other companies, there is a lot of C-level that is more into strategic decisions, but not so much into execution. And with us, it is more like we are working on the strategy, but we are also having our hands on with the execution. And I think that might be the big difference to other bigger companies.
Yeah. Okay. You're so humble, Melanie. I was looking for like top 3 things CMO can do, but that's good. Look, let's move on to the last couple of questions here before we round off. So, sort of, Melanie, if you should share, sort of like zooming out, sort of the top 5 pieces of advice to other CMOs or senior marketers working with influencer marketing, what would be the sort of the 3 to 5 gold nuggets that you would share?
I think most importantly, do your homework. Don't be blinded by good statistics, because we all know statistics. You can read them you can brush them in every direction. So research is like the most important thing, and then also look that maybe. It's very, very, very hard to
you can do
to come up with.
If you want, feel free.
No, I think research is the most important thing, and then of course be patient.
Yeah, and be willing to take risks.
Calculated risks.
Calculated risks. Very good. Melanie, how do you keep yourself updated as a marketeer? Like, is it books? Is it articles? Is it conferences, podcasts such as this one?
I think a little bit of everything. Of course, networking at conferences. I also try to go to conferences that maybe are not purely gaming focused, just to see new ideas,
Yeah, that's
what
so
other
interesting.
industries are doing. And then which a lot of people forget is just having talks in-house with the people that working with you, because I mean, especially if you work in a very successful company, means that you have a lot of good of in-house people.
Yeah,
And even though they are not working in your field, they might have very valuable input.
I think that's
So
such a great thing. Yeah,
sometimes I have an idea which I know would not work the way how it is in my head, but just
Mhm.
by bringing it up with a group of people, we just have a meeting, brainstorming session, go for coffee, go for lunch,
Mhm.
and I just throw the idea in and say like, oh, do you know a way how we can make it work? And from that
Yeah,
idea, other ideas are sparking up, and then you come up with something that is far away from the original idea, but it
yeah,
is much better than you thought it could get.
yeah. There's so much talent where you're sitting around you that you can make use of, right? You said a great point. So seeking inspiration from other industries, or going to other conferences. What kind of industries do you look to, Melanie, for inspiration?
Very, very much, of course. In the affiliate field, there is a lot of conferences, affiliate conferences that is not iGaming specific,
Mhm.
but then in general gaming. For example, I was supposed to have a speech at the Gamescom or at Comic Con
Mhm.
in Canada, for example.
Yeah,
So I'm trying to do as much as diverse fields, because there is always good ideas coming from somewhere else and that haven't been adapted to iGaming.
yeah,
So don't shy away, even if that is again where it is nice to have a CEO or management team that support decisions, because sometimes it might look like, why do I have to go to a conference that has nothing to do with gaming? Because it
yeah,
costs time, money,
yeah,
resources. But at the end of the day, even if it's just one or two leads, if it's good leads, it's already paid off. So I have never attended a conference where I did not come back with at least one or two valuable contacts.
yeah. And it's about creating an environment, right, where innovation and creativity can grow, right? And it's funny, I was listening to a podcast with Rory Sutherland the other day from Ogilvy, and one of the things he was saying is that, we have completely we have become so obsessed with looking busy and have a crazy busy calendar, and every minute of the day is booked for some random Zoom call. But really and truly, the most important thing you can do for creativity and innovation is go and do the dishes, or take a long walk, or just sit and stare out the window. That's where the power is. And you don't have any of that if every minute of your day is allocated to something. So I fully agree with that. I think it's so important that you have that. Yeah, you carve out space for doing nothing effectively. To the outside world, it looks like you're doing nothing, but that's really where the 10 times more impactful ideas come from, the most random places. I don't know what your experience is, Melanie.
No, I really love it. As you said, I do fully agree that the best ideas coming in moments that you think like, yeah, you're just going for a walk, you're
Yeah,
having a swim,
yeah,
etc. So it's
yeah. Absolutely. Or washing dishes. I can recommend that one. It's a powerful innovation technique. Wash the dishes at home, guys. Okay, Melanie, I am aware we have been speaking for 1 hour and 16 minutes. Time has flown by. Let's
yes.
start to rounding off. But before we move into the lightning round, is there any sort of concluding comments from your side around influencer marketing or Rootz or anything of the sort?
Maybe just if you're a marketer or in general a highly motivated person that want to work in that field, but you feel like your company is not the right place, hit me up. We're always looking for good people in our company.
Oh, look at that. It's fantastic. Melanie, on a serious note, how can people contact you? Is it LinkedIn? Is it Facebook, Instagram?
All channels, but most likely the best is LinkedIn. Just if you look up my name and drop me a message.
Fantastic. Very good. Excellent stuff. Good. Melanie, one of the key goals with this podcast is also to get to know you a little bit better. And the way we do that is through a lightning round, which basically just means 10 silly questions to some extent. And you literally have a few seconds. So just answer the first thing that pops to mind, okay? It's not allowed to think or be careful planned here. You just spit out whatever is first top of mind, okay? Are you ready for it?
I hope so.
All right, let's go. Summer or winter?
Summer.
Mac or PC?
PC.
Brand building or performance marketing?
Hard one. 50-50. I can't take a side here.
Okay. Who's your favorite streamer right now?
I can't tell.
Okay.
Otherwise other people might be.
Okay. All right. Las Vegas.
Fun.
Your all-time favorite song?
I don't have an all-time favorite song.
All-time favorite band?
Maybe like Red Hot Chili Peppers. They are quite good.
That's a good choice. Rev share or CPA?
CPA.
The best book you have ever read?
I forgot the English name, but in German it's Der Medicus from Noah Gordon.
Okay. Your favorite social media channel?
Instagram.
And you've been living in Malta for 10 years, so you can answer the 10th question here. What do you think about Kinney?
Okay.
It's okay. And for those of you who do not live in Malta, Kinney is an interesting orange bitter soda, I would say.
It depends on the mood, I think. Sometimes I do enjoy ice cold Kinney zest.
Yes.
But I don't like the normal Kinney for some reason.
No. It's funny, right? People are mixed down the middle around Kinney. But I remember my very first job experience here in Malta was with a Bet24, top 3 Nordics brand. And we actually had, for the fun of it, we had internally, it was a punishment. You had to drink a warm Kinney. It was a joke, obviously, but that was sort of the punishment if you messed up, basically. So yeah, great. Melanie, thank you so much for your time. It was a tremendous and great learning experience for me as well. You have so much to offer, Melanie. So I hope we will hear you in many more podcasts and see you in many more conferences in the future. Are you so first podcast over? Did you survive?
Yes, thank you very, very, very much. I really enjoyed the experience, and I definitely would, if I'm invited, I come again.
Melanie, I think we should book a second podcast when you launch your new brand. What do you think?
Definitely, I'm in.
Let's do it. Great. Melanie, have a fantastic day, and we'll speak soon again.
Thank you so much.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.